we had breakfast.
So, Thaddeus and Lay, are you going to continue investigating, or are you going to come back down and find the others?
Lay's going to just go around the farmhouse. Even though his scent's gone, maybe he'll see something.
Okay.
You know, go around the barn and farmhouse, try to see if there's anything different there.
Okay, you can roll me another perception check.
I'll go with too.
Okay. If you want to do a perception as well, Thaddeus, you can.
Oh, I get.
Oh, Jesus, you two. So, as you guys walk around the barn a little bit, Lay, you kind of see, what you first notice is you can see where it looks like on the other side of the barn, the vampire had attacked the ox. There's pieces of fur scattered around, and there's a little shred of fabric on the ground. Thaddeus, you also see the little piece of that fabric, and when you get a closer inspection, you can tell it is the same material that jeans are made out of. But that's really all you find.
Lay just sort of looks up at Thaddeus and then sits. Like, I found it, I'm good.
Good boy. Pat you on the head.
Get an absolute. You get this like rapid tail thump on the ground with a pat. He's like, yes, I'm a good boy.
It's even better because
whole person you're petting there.
it's even better because Lay is a giant fluff ball. I actually have him on here so you can see. Lay is a giant ass poof ball. So that is what you're patting.
Okay.
Okay, so
I'll start heading back to town then if there's nothing else to be found.
okay, so while you guys walk back, is there anything else, Eli, Cal, Archon, that you want to do in the Minotaur before you leave?
Nope.
No?
Yeah, I guess I spoke. Oh.
Eli?
Probably tip, put in the jar. Just as a thanks. Because the breakfast was really good.
So as you guys walk out, leave the Minotaur Bakery, you can see Lay and Thaddeus returning into town.
As soon as Lay joins the group, he just sits and just looks up at everyone.
Kind of relay what we found. Dead ox, and pretty sure it was a vampire, and followed the trail back towards the town and lost it. Show him the piece of fabric.
Well, we had breakfast.
And Eli kneels down, pulls a wrapped piece of probably the flatbread out and offers it to Lay.
Lay just, without even thinking about it, is like, oh, food! and essentially just eats what he's offered. He doesn't even think, oh, maybe poison. He's just gonna eat it.
While you guys are all kind of regrouping, I need you guys to roll perception.
Oops.
No, come back. There we go. And scroll, and I have it all perfectly in the right spot, and then it moves.
Yep. Okay, so really everybody but Eli. I need Jack, roll me a d6. Okay. So, as you guys are kind of regrouping, you see these two people walking by. One, you faintly recognize as an owner of one of the shops, but none of you are really familiar with him. He's just kind of a small little produce vendor that sits further closer to the common district of town. And he's talking with another man. That damn creep was stalking around last night. What one? That creepy Vargan boy? Yes. Caught him trying to climb onto the roof of the shop. Chased him off with a broom. Why was he getting on the roof? No idea. I think you should report him. He's got an eye of vampires or a demon. He's probably trying to summon more demons. And as they continue to talk, kind of how gruff old men do, they kind of are walking back towards the common district.
Okay, wait. Can we stop them?
Can you?
Okay, I'm gonna run over.
You're gonna run after him?
Quick, before they despawn.
And like, he's also going to pick up on the sense of urgency for once, and he's like, he's going to follow.
Do you just run after him, or do you call out to him?
I'm gonna fly over there, stop in front of them.
They're pretty easy to stop. They just kind of, they look at you surprised, like, whoa!
Just
The one that's clearly the shopkeep, the older guy with the kind of straggly beard. Can I help you, lad?
I do my normal, sort of somewhat flamboyant bow at them. That I'm sorry, I heard you talking. We're investigating things on the island. Can you tell me more about what you saw?
They kind of look at you funny, glancing to each other. I don't know who you are. I don't have to tell you anything.
The pin.
Pin?
Like, he's just barking like mad at him, but he's like, the pin.
Pin is trying so hard.
I flash the seal of the king at him.
Yeah. If you guys have caught up to me, you can. Because I'm like,
Yeah, I'm sure it sounded like everybody was following.
I'm gonna try to diplomacy them. I pull out my pin.
Okay, roll a diplomacy. Oh, you did. Okay. At first... What?
Nothing.
At first, they're kind of hesitant, and then they see that pin. And the younger one kind of taps the old man on the arm. All right. You are working for the kings. What do you want?
Can you tell me more about what you saw? You said you saw a Vargan climbing onto the roof and mentioned something about demons.
He's a strange one. The moment he realizes what you're asking about, he seems to kind of relax and unloosen a little bit. This is the third or fourth time I've caught him creeping down the alleyway next to my shop. Don't know what what his deal is. That spawn of his is demon-y too.
What was he wearing?
Oh, he changes clothes just like you and me. Last time?
What, did you see him last night?
Oh, last night. He was wearing a black and white striped shirt with fingerless gloves and black pants.
The piece of fabric that I found, is it black?
Yes.
I hold it up, kind of like this.
Similar, I would say. I didn't get that close to him.
He's like a
What's the matter with you, boy?
his pants.
He's probably infected with something.
Lay's going to like spin around and spin around and spin around and spin around where he's gonna like circle like 4 times and then try really hard for common and be like, where? Show us where. If anyone can understand me.
And he kind of looks to the canine Lay and just kind of frowns. Kind of looks like he's thinking, "Am I going crazy?" But nods slowly and just kind of pushes past Cal and motions with his finger. And he takes you just to about right here. It's right on the edge of the common district of housing. And just right off the road, next to an alleyway, is a tiny little floral and produce shop that him and his wife and his run, while his son-in-law and daughter all have a farm further out of town. He points down the alleyway where you can see a few bags of who knows what. They're in fabric bags. He was trying to climb over there. That's why I almost always find him. Somebody else saw him near, I don't know, that damn oddity shop a few weeks ago.
Lay just gonna dive in and start sniffing around if he can at all pick up anything or see anything. He's like, I need to find this one.
Perception. You can catch a faint scent of something Vargan, but you don't really recognize it, and it doesn't really go anywhere. It just kind of lingers, like he's been there before, or he spent some time there. He's a Vargan. Maybe he even peed there. You don't know.
Peed on some bags and left.
That just causes Lay to sit dumped. He's like,
Thaddeus thinks this is about the time to bring in his buddy.
Okay. It is probably about midday now by this point. So, if Thaddeus wants to walk off, and he can go find his master.
Yep, that's what he's doing.
Okay, Thaddeus.
Wait.
So while Thaddeus is gone, what are you guys doing?
Well,
I think we should go talk to Kyra again.
Yeah.
Jarvis said that she might know more about this.
Okay.
we should. But maybe we should pick someone other than you to talk to her since she's nervous around the Fae.
Wait. I am going to try to hide my wings under my coat.
She already knows you're a Fae.
I'm not there, but didn't she already see your face?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll change. Watch this.
I'm not there. I'm just. That's the voice in the back of your head asking. You
I don't have an inner voice. Is where you're wrong.
That's where you're right. What?
What? Get out of here!
I
You aren't
don't know.
even here.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of tuck my wings away and sort of like not try to appear as someone else, but try to appear as like less like a fairy.
Okay, so you guys are heading to to talk to Kyra, though.
Yes.
Okay. Let me move you here. Let me get rid of you. And let me get rid of some people. Hold on. I wasn't expecting you to come back.
They live here.
I wasn't expecting you to come back!
They're all just milling around. Like, what are you doing here?
I'm going to put... Where the fuck are all of you? You're here. Where are you, Cal?
I don't know.
What the fuck?
I disguised myself so well, I just turned invisible.
Like, seriously, I don't know what happened to you. Like, where you went.
Yeah, I can't find myself either.
Okay, well, I'll respawn you
It's
in.
fine. I'm here in spirit.
I'm here in spirit.
Or maybe I'm gonna hang out outside. Oh, there I am.
There we go. We'll put these... Yeah, you're getting out of here. You're gonna be here, you're getting out of here. And you're down here. No, you're not in here, actually. you were getting at here. Okay. So, you guys come in through this door, and you have to
Surround her.
Oh, I didn't mean to move her, sorry. Okay. So, when you guys walk in, you actually see her in the meeting room where you guys were, sitting at a table with papers just spread out everywhere. There's even papers on the floor, there are books on the floor, it's just a chaotic mess, but it seems to be an organized chaotic mess.
Lay's just gonna head straight up to her. He doesn't care about the papers on the floor, he's just gonna go up and sit beside her.
She's going to glance at you. She immediately knows what you are. She's probably seen you before, but doesn't really think much of it. She just kind of glances at you, Lay. Don't sit on my paperwork, please.
Lay just sort of looks around at all the papers and looks back at her, and
She glances back at Lay and grabs her crutch and pretty hard, not to do any harm, but knocks him in the side of his shoulder with her crutch, which is made out of like a golden brass. Please, get off of my damn paperwork.
like a fucking startled cat with a cucumber behind it, he sort of he jumps up, taking some papers on his sticky feet, and just sort of gets out of the range of
I
paperwork.
completely visualize that as soon as you said a startled cat.
Got that on a giant fluffy dog.
Straight up into the air.
Straight up in the air, a couple of papers stuck to him, and he just gets off the paperwork. He's taken something with him, and he's just like, ugh!
Go ahead.
I'm gonna like nudge Archie next to me. I said, "You should ask her about the woman that survived after being abducted."
So Archie looks around in confusion, and looks at the woman, and already forgot what was asked.
Who, me?
Sort of noticing the blank stare, I'm gonna this time poke. Where the heck is Thaddeus? Oh, he left. I'm gonna poke Eli. Said, hey, ask about the woman that survived. You go do it. She doesn't like me.
She doesn't like me.
So, he's gonna come around and stay outside of the paperwork mess that's everywhere.
He a thick boy.
Roll me, Lay, you can too, since you got close, both of you. Roll me a perception check.
Roll a what?
Roll what?
Perception. Lay was way too startled to notice whatever she was working on. Eli, you don't really get close enough to see the details, but you can see on one paper a hand-drawn figure of a Wendigo. So you're assuming that she's working on Wendigos, but you're not positive.
Okay. He'd stand there a little bit, and then, excuse me, but sorry, I had to formulate words. Excuse me, but I was wondering if I could ask you a question about some of the things that we have heard.
At first, she didn't even really raise her head to you. Instead, she just kind of holds up a finger as she frantically writes something down, clearly trying to write her thoughts before they leave her head forever. And then she kind of turns slowly. She goes, God, I didn't think you guys would ever show up.
We got a little distracted.
Fair enough. She actually seems very perky and friendly with you. And she slowly stands up, leaning on her crutch pretty heavily. She's clearly not super comfortable with her fake leg yet. She walks very stiffly, but she steps over her paperwork and motions to you guys to follow her into the office. And as she walks through the doorway, she yells back at you, "Don't step on my paperworks unless you want to lose a foot."
Hide over in the corner here.
So Eli grabs Excalibur, probably by the foot, to make sure that the little
shit.
yeah, basically, doesn't mess up anything. because knowing him, he will run off with some of the paperwork, and they'll be chasing him around the place for hours trying to get it back. Because he's a little shit.
Archie touched some of the paperwork just to be petty.
You said you touched some of the paperwork just to be petty?
I stepped on it.
Okay. And when she hears the crumple of paper, she kind of glances at you, and you can just see her shooting you daggers. But when she notices that the paper stays, she just kind of nods and goes back to trying to sit down somewhat gracefully at her desk.
Lay had managed to very, very carefully creep around the papers because she's mean. Just sits in a corner. He's like, I don't want to get that again.
So once you guys all enter her office and she finally settles into her seat, she kind of takes a nice heavy sigh, you know, possibly in pain, you really can't tell, and says, okay, hit me with whatever you got. And with a newfound, like, vigor and excitement.
Man, she really doesn't like me.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be staring at, like, a painting.
Just staring.
Can
Not
someone
like
remind?
backwards or
Can someone remind Gwen of what we found out with the person who survived?
That's what we were asking.
what Morgan said that there was a woman who was abducted but survived.
Okay.
So is that what you guys... Yeah, okay, go on.
Yeah. So over breakfast, we heard about a woman who was abducted but survived. And before we came here, we heard a rumor about someone who was trying to climb buildings. Kind of glances over his shoulder at his cohorts to make sure that he's remembering things right.
Lay gives like a half-assed nod, like he's thinking about other things. Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then looks back to her. Wait, does he know anything about the ox and the blood trail and any of that?
Lay?
No. Eli.
Oh,
I think Thaddeus mentioned it.
yeah,
That told
Okay.
you about it.
yeah.
And he would also mention that there was an ox that was killed up at one of the close to town ranches, and the blood trail led in the general direction of town.
She kind of blinks, almost as if she's a little overwhelmed by all your questions, but she brightens up almost instantly. And she goes, okay, well, let's see. And she kind of fiddles with a few papers on this desk that are clearly not related to what she was working on in the main meeting room. She goes, as for the vampire, we'll start there. She said, the ox, we have a feral. And she kind of goes quiet and depressed. Well, feral vampires are those that are freshly changed. They do not have much control, and they are extremely dangerous. The fact he has not taken any human yet is nothing short of a miracle. But that does not mean he won't be taking a human or a humanoid soon. So we are trying to find him to rate him on a level of danger. The moment he takes a human, he will have to be put down. And she kind of pulls out a sheet of paper with a report of the first sighting of the vampire taking an ox almost 2 months before today. She said, but he is not our priority, at least not until he does take a humanoid. But if you do see him, you should try to do something about him. If not, kill him, at least capture him so we can evaluate him.
Okay, so he's not related to the other problems?
We don't think. Nothing right now is known for sure, but he came in, he was cited for the first time a lot more recently than a lot of our other problems.
Okay.
She kind of sits there and thinks for a second. The person creeping in the alleyways? She questions, kind of confused. Tell me again, what was that?
He was creeping around one of the marketplace produce stalls and trying to get onto the roof.
She kind of rubs her hands as you're talking, thinking. Go on.
And he was
It's okay, you go.
And he was also seen closer to the oddities shop.
And that's when Lane sort of gets up, spins around and starts barking a little bit.
Kind of stops, looks over at Lay, patiently waiting.
And then he just sits.
Kyra's gonna pick something off of her desk. It looks kind of like a small paperweight, and she chucks it at Lay rather violently. Come on, you stupid dumbass. I know you can speak in that form.
Lay immediately fucking ducks his ass and fucking walks into the other corner and hides behind Cal. And then,
I've got like my face almost touching the wall.
well, he's going to try and weasel his way between Cal's legs and the wall. He's going to try. And then mumble bargain.
Kyra kind of...
Bargain?
Then he's just going to mumble the word bargain. That's it.
Like, yeah, I know.
Kyra kind of nods, just barely hearing his words, and she nods. She goes, that one, you might try to investigate more. We have had rumors of... And she kind of pauses and starts to pull out another sheet of paper. And she lays it and kind of pushes it towards Eli. And at the top, it says eyewitnesses on it. And she says, these are all of the descriptions that we have had of the murderers on the island. They range. But one thing that is common is we have a lot of reports of them being either a werewolf or a canine shapeshifter. And she kind of shrugs.
I give like a really like pointed glance at Lay. Like,
Lay's just, tails casually thumping against the wall.
The people at the people who own the stall who we were talking to mentioned something about this particular person being demon touched, or
Vampire was the other word used.
or vampire.
Kyra shrugs. She kind of shakes her head. Vargan cannot be affected by vampirism. Not unless they are born as a dhampir. They are immune to most of those diseases that elves and humans and even fae succumb to. But that does not mean there's not possession.
Lay just sort of tilts his head like, what the fuck?
With the increase of demons that we had, we cannot rule out that our murderers are demon-influenced. We do not have enough information about anything going on, which is where you guys come in and are hopefully narrowing this down for us. And she kind of laughs a little bit, loving her job. But yes, you may try to investigate that more. The only information I can give to you for that is looking for Wendigo tracks or sneaking around town at night, since that seems to be when he is creeping about.
Like, sort of puts up a paw, like a hand up, sort of like a kid in the classroom.
Kyra rolls her eyes and does that look of her head going back slightly, and she rolls her head to look at Lay and just stares at him.
Then he's just like, tracks, look. How look?
She stares for a minute and then kind of gets up and shambles over to her bookshelf before shambling back with another book, groaning the whole way, being very dramatic about it, as Fae usually are, and plops back down, opens up a book, and points out a hand-drawn 2 pages. One is clearly a forepaw and one is a hind paw. And she points at the first page. She said, "This is the front track of a Wendigo. They can walk on 2 or 4 legs. Their fronts are similar to our handprints. They just have," and she points out the very defined claws at the end of each finger. She goes, "They have claws that you do have to watch out for." And she kind of looks up at Eli, since he's really the only one that's close enough to see this picture, and sighs, but points at the other one, which is very hoof-shaped, more like a deer or an elk or even a moose. Their hind feet, which they tend to walk on more and favor, are cloven hooves, similar to a unicorn or, in other countries, elk and deer. Those are the tracks to watch for.
I'm gonna kind of mosey over and like glance over Eli's shoulder at the tracks.
She kind of glances at you, but ignores you because Eli is at least a comfort to her.
Very, very cautiously, Lay's going to put his, like Al, and sort of put his chin on the desk to try and look.
A lot of times, she says, kind of as she stands up tall a little bit and then relaxes back into her seat, she said, "The Wendigo don't leave tracks. We don't know why, but their tracks can be hard to follow or even find."
That's odd.
At this point, if you want, Brian, you can... Do you want him to arrive here, or do you want to wait until they're back in town?
Makes more sense for him to be at the location he left the party.
Okay. Well, he has ears and eyes. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, he probably noticed them leave, but
Okay.
he's just kind of hanging out there,
Probably,
waiting for them to come
and
back.
probably doing his own thing.
Yep, doing his own scouting.
Okay. So, what other question did you had? I'm sorry. You guys distracted me.
Did we get the name of the woman?
No, you didn't yet.
We didn't get the name of the woman who was rescued.
Kyra kind of nods and kind of absent-mindedly rubs her leg that is no longer there. She said, "That would be Miss Tanny. Tansen Faulkner," she says, and she goes through and once again wanders slowly to her bookshelf and sifts through a couple books, grabs one, and slowly wanders back. And it's actually, instead of a book, it seems to be a file, and it is about an inch thick. And on the outside it says Tansen and Ranson. And she puts it down on the table. Tansen and her partner went missing late summer, about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now. And we didn't know what happened to them. And then one day we were out on a hunt and we found Tansen with another young fox person that they had escaped.
Escaped what?
Did they remember where they came from?
It kind of wiggles a little bit as she's kind of struggling with how to explain. Ji-hoon knows, but he doesn't really talk about it because he doesn't meddle in the affairs of mortals. Tansen is going through the last bit of her shock, we say, and she is refusing to even acknowledge the event that has happened.
Maybe we should go talk to her.
Eli nods.
Kyra clearly gets a little flustered and kind of stands up. I'm not going to discourage that, but please be gentle with her. She is already emotionally unstable, and we do not want to lose one of our own over something like this.
Do you know where we can find her?
Kyra kind of shifts a little bit, and you can tell she's uncomfortable with this. She tends to live just out of town with... Oh, what do I have to look. Jesus Christ. Oh, she lives close to our healer. She has her own little home out there near his ranch, but I don't know the exact location. But she has been venturing into town lately. You might be able to find her at, like, the bakery in early morning. Or even sometimes she ventures to the Golden Chalice in the evening. That was some angry clicking. Holy crap.
What? No.
Lay's just going to go, where is? What is, in reference to the Golden Chalice?
If you go to... She's going to point to a map that's on her desk. I have to check my map myself. It is... When you're on the main town, it is... B.
I could have told you where the Golden Chalice is.
Yeah, it's B on the main map when we go back to the main town map. It is just southeast of the town hall, on the southeast corner of the loop, the road loop that goes around the main town.
Okay. Maybe we should go there and see if we can speak to her tonight.
Agreed.
But
Go on.
we need to be careful.
Kyra nods. She said, please, you need to be soft with her. Her partner was turned into a Wendigo. She is still suffering with that constant reminder. We are working at trying to see what we can do to give her closure, but that is a constant ghost over her shoulder, especially when she knows he ventures around at night, and we see him almost daily.
Where?
He tends to stay out in the wilds, but Makota tends to go out every night to try to see what packs of Wendigos are where, to make sure that we don't have any new ones spawning in. If you want exact locations, Makota and Rathorn are the ones to discuss that with. But if I may interject my own opinion, I do believe you have a very firm lead with the ones creeping around. That is very suspicious, and I would feel more comfortable if you could take care of that. Even if you do talk to Miss Hansen, just please deal with putting our citizens' hearts at ease.
No.
Yeah. We're all just,
We should talk to her if we can tonight, and then
Lay's sitting there,
stay up and keep watch on the town and see if we can catch this creeper person.
So by this point, it's probably late evening. You've spent a lot of the afternoon in here kind of going over things with Kyra. Mm-hmm. So if you want to talk with the Kings or anybody else before you leave, It will be just about sunset when you guys do leave.
Do we want information on the Wendigos?
I mean, isn't that what we're here to solve?
True. And it would be a good idea. Give me a break, I'm a kid.
Lay just sort of sits there and tilts his head and is like, what the fuck is going on?
It would be a good idea to know how many packs are out there and exactly what kind of thing we would be up against if we were to find one.
Bark.
Did you just say bark?
No, it's like barked.
Bark.
Bark!
Yeah, we should go talk to the kings and figure more of this out.
Okay, go talk to the
Alright.
kings.
I'll push the storyline forward.
Okay.
Hey.
What?
Like,
Yes, Brian?
keeps
Hold on. Brian? Yes?
While they're doing this, I'm gonna use my ability Case the Joint to look at the alleyways and whatnot of the area that we were told about
Okay.
to try and get more information.
Uh,
So what I need to do is roll a knowledge engineering check. If I succeed by more than 20, I get to re-roll any checks I need to make in that area.
okay.
Ooh.
Okay?
Yep, go ahead.
And I failed.
Yes, you did. You walk.
You tried.
You walk through there, and it doesn't look like really anything's going on.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Let's move Brant out of the way here. Okay, so you guys,
Brand was the only fully clothed person in that room.
and he looks fabulous.
He is fabulous. He's amazing.
So you guys are gonna go talk to them.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you
Because
guys walk in on a orgy?
what's that?
So did they just walk in on an orgy?
Possibly. Because nobody's going over there. So I mean,
Lay's going to be the first one to sort of barge in the door. Or attempt to.
Gonna catch him in a compromising position.
so
Eli
as
wants to knock.
is Cal going to let Eli knock?
Nah, I'm just gonna...
Shove in.
Like, as he's raising his hand, I just kind of shove him out of the way and walk in.
So as you enter, Makota is actually sitting on a desk while Rathorn is pacing, and sitting on two of the chairs are Grant and Bracken. And they kind of just turn and look at you guys a little confused, but also not really surprised. But they just kind of silently wait.
I've arrived.
Since Cal didn't get his head bitten off, Eli's gonna go into.
Followed by Lay. She's gonna duck in between someone's legs and just sit.
Sit, boy. Sit. Good boy.
That's actually what he did. He just walked in and then sat.
And you guys all entered, and Makota and Rathorn kind of trade glances, and Rathorn finally just goes, "Okay."
Eli glances over at Cal, who didn't let him knock on the door, wondering if he's going to be elected the spokesperson yet again.
I nod.
You guys can kind of tell that Rathorn is getting a little bit impatient with just people just taking up space in the office.
Runs his hand through his hair, and
I don't even remember what we were like.
Also ask about the Wendigo locations where they've been spotted.
Thank you, Larry.
he's trying to think of a good way to ask that.
Finally, Makoto, as he's like stumbling over himself and thinking, Makoto's like, spit it out!
Lay's just like, where?
We were wondering
Where?
Lay. Stop, please. Sorry.
I like how Art is just in the hallway, just like, yeah, I'm just hanging out.
Still stepping for my papers.
He's like, I refuse to be a part of this train wreck.
A shit show that is this.
I'm gonna flash his own badge at the Kings.
Official police business.
Yeah.
We were wondering where the different Wendigo packs happen to be oriented, and how many Wendigos there will be.
Makoto,
Because we are planning on spending the night in the town tonight, seeing what we can find.
Makoto kind of laughs, being the child that he is, and he goes, spending the night, bunch of guys, spending the night together, and he does kind of like a funky little jig, but after earning a glare from Rathorn, he clears his throat and sits up a little bit more, sorry. And he finally jumps off of this desk and clearly trying to compose himself because he's not used to composing himself. And he pulls a sheet out of the desk that he had been sitting on and then jumps back up onto the desk and sits. Says there are 10 known Wendigo as of right now. He said usually there are one doe and one stag within a pack. But most of what we have documented are stags. They are, and he looks up from his paper and kind of points at you guys, kind of absent-mindedly, like, you guys might want to write this down. This is a lot. And Rathorn rolls his eyes and kind of rests his head into his hand like, oh my god, kill me.
That's current mood.
So Makoto pulls out his paper and kind of gets comfortable. He said, one is located near Warm Pond. One, it was last seen near the West Watchtower. And he kind of pauses. Oh, we killed number 3, and he scratches that one out. Number 4 was seen also near Warm Pond. Number 5 was located near the Cove. Number 6 we saw near the West Watchtower, but it was not with that other one that was near the Watchtower, which is very odd. And he kind of pauses, looks at Rathorn as if looking for reassurance, and then goes,
I really hope I'm taking notes.
I'm taking sort of notes.
Hey, someone else be taking notes because I completely forgot about notes.
That's why I was reminding people, because I'm not there. I can't do it.
I've got some things, but not all things.
Number 7 was located near the Fang Mountains with number 8. They have been noted to be stalking a lot of people when they're walking along the paths out there. Number 9, we have not gotten a lot of information on. We have just had reports of him from a dragon. But he was near the Dragon Caves on Dragon Mountains. And then the last one, which is one of high interest, was also seen near the Cove.
What makes him high interest?
He kind of hesitates and kind of seems to be like struggling as if there's a bad taste in his mouth. The woman that we found almost a year ago now, after she just came out of the woods, she was one of our missing. We believe he is her partner. He has the same marks as his feral form. He is a Vargan. Well, was a Vargan. And he shares the same marks and a tattoo on his arm. And he is a very big Wendigo. And he is unusual as well because he has wings, and most Wendigo do not. Rathorn kind of nods, like, along with Makoto, you know, kind of following through, and when Makoto finishes, he kind of motions, drawing your attention. Do not, whatever you do at this moment in time, engage with any of those Wendigo, especially a stag.
Eli nods.
I'll take your word for it.
And we wanted to know where they were so we could avoid them at this point in time.
Rathorn just kind of slowly nods, not really believing you, but also kind of stuck between, okay, you're doing your jobs, and not wanting to believe you. and
Keep cutting out real bad.
why do I keep... I
Really bad.
even have a different mic. It might be the internet, yeah. Rathorn clearly is like on the edge of not believing you, and also, well, I hired them, so I have to take their word for it, kind of thing.
This is a point where Lei, trying his best, is like, others' interests?
Makoto looks down at Lei, and in a Vargan tongue, describes he says to Lei in the Vargan tongue that it is believed to be a male and female team going around and killing people in the town or taking them hostage.
Lei nods, and then in return, the Vargan tongue pretty much asks, is there a list of the missing?
At this point, Makoto nods, but before he can even answer, Rathorn, in a common tongue, says, yes, there are eyewitness descriptions on the bulletin board in the middle of town.
Lei just nods. Thank you.
At this point, Rathorn kind of looks you guys over, and is there anything else that we can do before we send you on your way?
Archon decides to enter the room now. But says
Eli
no.
kind of like bounces over everybody just to ensure they're done.
Maybe. Arjun came in with something.
And then shakes his head and thanks the kings for their time with a bow and turns to leave.
As you guys are leaving, the young man's kind of sitting silently in the corner. Bracken, he's one of the princes, so to say. He's a king in waiting. He's in training. He stands up and follows you guys out, and then gently grabs Eli by the arm to turn him around to face him. He says, please, I hate to ask, but can you do me a favor?
What favor do you need?
Bracken kind of looks back, making sure that Makoto isn't really within earshot, and he kind of steps out of the way. Oh, let me move his ass out of the doorway and pulls Eli with him. And he says, I don't know if you know me well. He says, I am Bracken. I am one of the kings in waiting. Makoto is my half-brother, and I don't want him to know that our sister is missing. If you see her, she is a wild heart. If you see her, will you just try to send her home?
If we see her, we will.
Her name is Morolyn. She is a feisty young woman. She looks a lot like our mother. She just has white hair with glimpses of red, and if she's in her canine form, she is almost all white with a red butt. And he kind of smiles endearingly. He can tell just by looking at him that he's worried sick about his little sister. She's been missing for probably about a week now, and our mother says not to worry because she's just a wild heart. But with everything going on, we can't help but worry. My brother Parkland is just too compensated right now to worry and help out.
We will keep an eye out for her, and if we see her, we will send her to you.
Bracken nods and bows very deeply. You just full of respect and what's the word I'm looking for? Appreciation for you to take on this just little side thing of watching for her. And without another word, he nods and kind of slips back into the room, hoping that the others didn't see him slip out.
Eli would share the information of who they're supposed to watch out for and what she looks like, what her name is, with everyone.
I know Jack is over there just biting her tongue.
Oh yeah. oh yeah.
No metagaming.
I just
of emotions that I am like, no, bite your tongue. Bite your tongue.
I had to see Jack's rage for a moment. So
it's there. It's under the surface. And if Blade was in the room, because reasons, he would have potentially gone off his nut. But yeah, he doesn't.
Whoa.
I was about to say the same thing, but I was taking a drink.